Hey everyone else going, welcome back to another video. So man, there is a lot to talk about here. I watched episode 5 and it absolutely blew me away. For sure, by far, this is my favorite episode of the season so far. I mean, we basically got everything. I was wondering how they were going to fit 4 storylines together, and one of the storylines, or maybe even 2, were a little bit smaller, but it still advanced the stories in those areas. And so, like, overall, I thought this episode was so great. But let's talk about what actually happened here. So obviously, before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this. And as always, this will contain spoilers for the episode. I will be doing an episode 6 trailer breakdown right after this, so stay tuned for that. That just looked really incredible. I'm so hyped for episode 6. Now, there were 4 major storylines here, and I want to focus on Alexandria, because I feel like that one right there was the one that I wasn't really expecting a lot from, or at least I wasn't expecting to be as interested in it. And from what we got, it definitely was one of the better ones. And Alexandria, obviously, we saw was under attack by walkers. A lot of this is going to be set up for episode 8, which is going to have this big walker battle in Alexandria. There's going to be a storm that hits Alexandria. A lot of what we see in the beginning with the walkers attacking Alexandria is a lot of that. You know, they're still dealing with those walkers attacking Alexandria, and eventually they think of going to the hilltop, and so that's kind of where they go. The story takes them there, and I'm glad that we didn't see too much of that travel. They just ended up over there. That's one of those things that Angela Kang did when she took over as showrunner in season 9, was like, we're going to get rid of a lot of that traveling time, because a lot of that makes everything just so boring. And so let's just get rid of it. You know, like, we've gotten to the point on the show where people understand the journey. People get it, right? They showed us it a lot in the beginning. There are some like bigger moments that we have to get to, and a lot quicker. And so if we're going to fit everything in and condense it a lot more, let's get rid of all that traveling time. And I love it. Like, I don't even really realize it anymore, but like, that used to be a thing. You know, a few seasons ago, we would have saw that whole trip to the hilltop, and then like, it would have been really boring. But yeah, they're at the hilltop there, and then Aaron's the one who actually finds the Whisperer mask, which that's the one prediction I had wrong. So I am wondering how that survival technique, or whatever that Negan teaches Maggie, I'm wondering how that's actually gonna play a role, because like, is it going to be the Whisperer thing, or is it going to be something else? I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be that. It's going to be directing the Horde, but yeah, as of now, they don't actually have any Whisperer masks, so I wonder if they're just going to cover themselves in blood and direct the Horde that way, if like that's the survival technique that Negan knows. Yeah, as soon as they get to the hilltop, they find Whisperers there, and a lot of it is trying to find out more information. Are the Whisperers still around? Aaron is stressed out. He's so stressed out right now. And you can really see it. You know, this guy he really cares about keeping Alexandria afloat. Like, he is fighting so hard to keep this community standing. You know, if Gabriel dies, because Gabriel's kind of the leader of Alexandria, I would say, if he dies and they need a new leader, I would say Aaron automatically. You know what? Like, even if Rick comes back, I think Aaron needs to be the leader, right? Like, at this point, I think Rick did a lot. He's helped Alexandria come so far. I think that if he comes back, Rick just has to like retire the leadership duties, right? Give it to Aaron, let him deal with that, because it's his place. He's been there since the beginning. He didn't even want to go on this Reaper trip, right? And Maggie wanted to do that. He just thought it was so dumb, and he's kind of right about that. But obviously for him, the difficult task he has is to find supplies elsewhere, which is going to be really hard. And obviously we see that he's having a hard time doing that, but he is trying so hard. And I just think that, yeah, you know, that opening sequence was really insane. Like the dream he had with Gracie, I mean, that just shows right there how stressed out he is. We saw a member of the Wolves, which was really cool. I mean, that's 5 seasons ago already. That's crazy. We also saw a Savior and some Whisperers, and I mean, that scene was just, that was graphic. And then we get to some of the Judith being bullied storyline, and I will say the acting wasn't really the best here, but it you know, they're kids, it works, I think. We actually do see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's son. His son was a walker for this scene here, and that was the walker that they were looking at through the gates here. And yeah, a lot of this storyline obviously set up and sort of told the story of Judith is alone now, and how does she move on knowing that her parents are gone and might not ever come back, right? I mean, that's the thing to Judith, is like, and that's what I find so weird here, right? Like, Rosita, she knows that Michonne's gone, but like Judith isn't saying anything about Rick. Imagine if Judith just told Rosita that, like, yeah, well, my mom left because she found like evidence or proof that that my dad is still out there and alive. Rosita's going to be like, what? Right? And so I want that to come out. I really want that to come out. And I'm hoping that's going to come out soon. A lot of what's going on right now, I think, with Judith is, realizing that she does have family around her. And so I wonder if that's gonna, if that'll cause her to reveal that her father is actually alive, or at least her mom thinks so. And I think that's what they could be building towards. Carl's patio board, or the deck board that he had, where he had his and Judith's handprints on there from season 8, that was destroyed. Luckily, we saw them fixing it towards the end, but that was sad. And I really liked Rosita, her commentary on, this is just a memory, but it's not like a real memory. Obviously, what you know in your head, that is what's real. Like, that will never be lost. This here is just a symbol, and it was just a nice nod to Carl, because obviously, like, we all miss Carl on the show, right? And it's sad because I remember when I don't think we saw anyone put it up, but I remember when Rick in season 9 walked past this and saw it, and I do expect this bully storyline to continue into future episodes, and we'll kind of see where this goes, I guess, with Judith. The Maggie and Negan storyline was definitely a lot shorter than I was expecting. Like, they did go back and forth quite a bit, and a lot of it is, Negan is the voice of reason in all this, which is just really weird. Maggie's not listening to him at all, and honestly, I was expecting a little bit more here, and this is the one that we just kind of, like, it was crucial to tell, right? Like you can't just ignore Maggie and Negan. You do want to have some alone time with them, and it also set up that Gabriel and Elijah are alive, they found each other, and that they showed up in the end. I was expecting that to happen in this episode, and so this story, like, it actually mattered. In the end, it mattered. It wasn't just them talking about whatever, because in the end, they showed up, so now we have 4 characters together here. Alden is still at that old church, but who knows? Maybe he left and he's trying to get back, or maybe the Reapers captured him. But as of now, we have these 4 together, which I think it's going to be cool to see these 4 travel to Meridian, and we'll see what happens. Now that I know that these 4 are together, episode 7 synopsis is a little more interesting when it says that Gabriel meets a man of God. Like, now I'm kind of thinking that, if they're getting really close to Meridian, I think it makes sense that they could come across a Reaper, and I think that it is most likely going to happen. So, big storyline here obviously was the Commonwealth storyline. That was like the major one, and we saw the Lance Hornsby intro video, or the commercial video. We saw a lot more of it. It was really lengthy. That was so cool to see, to be honest. Like, seeing that there, man, I got goosebumps. It was insane to see something like that, especially on this show. A lot of Pamela Milton mentioned. So we haven't seen her yet. We didn't see Sebastian Milton in this episode, but we got a lot of nods to the Milton family. They are definitely setting up that family right now. And it makes a lot of sense that we're not going to see them yet, because the thing is, these are very powerful people. They're not just going to be accessible, right? They're going to have their own logo. Like, I don't even know if they're in this area, right? Like, they might be really far away from that area, and they have their own little town where all the rich people stay, the more powerful people stay. Like, it could be like that. And so, yeah, a lot of Pamela Milton mentions. They are definitely setting up and creating this mystery around the character, which I think is perfect. So I think if she just showed up out of nowhere, it would make no sense. Like, who's this, right? Like we don't care. But right now, they're constantly mentioning her. The characters are like, who's this Pamela Milton? And so it's creating this interest, this intrigue into the characters. And yeah, I really liked all of that. What's funny is that they don't actually confirm that this Stephanie is the fake Stephanie, but we actually see the real Stephanie. We actually see Margot Bingham as Stephanie. She walks into the scene for a quick second there, like she's getting ice cream or whatever, and she literally talks with Eugene, and she looks comic accurate. Like, this right here is Stephanie, and I loved it. As soon as I saw her, I got goosebumps. I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, holy shit, like, that is Stephanie right there. That's so cool. And then obviously later on, we didn't get that confirmation, but it is coming. That confirmation is going to happen eventually. And I'm actually, like, based off of her reaction, it doesn't seem like she was held captive or anything like that, obviously. But I do find it weird that everything is playing out the way it's playing out. Like, someone knows something. And I think that's the thing that Angela Kang did here, actually, was like, obviously we know that's not the real Stephanie, but like, it seems like who knows what is something that is sort of hard to pin down right now. Like, the fake Stephanie, does she know that she's the fake Stephanie, or is she pretending to be that and the Commonwealth doesn't know? Like, do the Commonwealth know that she's the real Stephanie? Is it a whole plan, or is she just pretending? And it looks like the actual real Stephanie that Eugene was talking with, she has no idea what's going on, but she heard Eugene talking there, and she seemed a little, it struck her, right? Like as soon as she heard him talking, she was just like, wait, I recognize that voice. No one else talks like that, right? And so I imagine that reveal could come at some point through her because she heard that. And so, yeah, the whole thing there is interesting. But I also wanted to mention that Mercer gave Princess the dollar bill. And I called that so long ago, or I guess around episode 1 or 2. I was saying how like I felt like that line of dialogue was placed there to build a connection with Mercer and Princess later on. And that's exactly what we got here. Like Mercer saw to it that Princess was going to get her dollar bill back, and she did. And then that created that little bond there where Princess said that he had like these beautiful eyes, or big, beautiful eyes. And yeah, that was a funny scene there. But Eugene actually makes contact with Alexandria, which was really nice to see that interaction there, because like it's been so long, right? And he almost finds out and learns about what happened with the Whispers and all that. But obviously the communications were cut because Mercer and them showed up. And we see Lance Hornsby, because obviously they were held captive, or they got arrested. Lance Hornsby shows up and tells them to free them. And so they're most likely not going to get banished from the Commonwealth, but they are going to have to pay their fines. And we do see that in future episodes. I believe episode 7 is going to focus a lot on that. They're going to go out there and kill some walkers. Maybe like fight some of the Magenta Swarm. I know they mentioned that a couple of episodes ago. That's a comic Easter egg right there. I'll talk about that more in my in-depth review coming out next Sunday, but that could be what they're setting up here. Like they're going to deal with that horde a little bit to pay their fines, which obviously to our group is nothing. To deal with walkers is like, okay, fine. It's a punishment to the people in the Commonwealth, but to our people, it's like, okay, this is like every other day, right? And so, yeah, I'm interested in seeing what happens there. It was really cool to see Lance Hornsby. I wasn't expecting to like the character so much, but this guy's super powerful, and just seeing him here in the scene, it was just like, holy shit, this guy here, like, he has some like huge presence just showing up there. Like, I honestly, I really love this scene. Yumiko obviously saw her brother, Tommy, and that was such a cool scene there. The reunion there was like really cool, and just learning about everything behind his backstory and stuff. I really can't wait to see like where this goes, because he does say like the Commonwealth, it's legit, right? So yeah, I mean, overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I could talk about this episode forever and ever, but I will leave it here. This was my favorite episode. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this is my favorite episode of the season by far. It was just such a great season, and also what it set up for Connie's survival. You know, episode 6 looks to be really good, and I'm going to do a trailer breakdown on that, but like that's the big thing here, is that they found out that Connie is alive, or potentially could be alive, and so that's going to set up a lot of, and that's what I was wondering too before I watched the episode. In my trailer breakdown, I was talking about how in episode 6, or at least based off of the synopsis, Kelly goes out to look for Connie. I was wondering how that switch happened, and now I think we know. They're going to go back to Alexandria. They're going to tell Kelly and everyone about what they learned about Connie, and then that's why Kelly's going to go out in episode 6 to search for Connie. There's actually quite a bit of other stuff too. I thought it was just going to be a Connie episode and Kelly and then some Daryl stuff, but it looks like we're going to be getting some Maggie and Negan stuff as well, and it's most likely going to be them versus the Reapers. I think they're going to encounter some Reapers on the way. That one there, I don't know what to expect from that storyline, but I'll talk about it in my trailer breakdown coming out very soon. So obviously, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.